I'm just off around our school to see what exam tips our teachers have for you when preparing for this exam series, which, well, it starts now basically, doesn't it? Firstly, remember that revision always pays off. I have never known a student who has actually worked hard revising who does not get an exam grade that they're pleased with, that they're proud of.
My top tip for revision for exams is to plan in breaks. So it's really easy to overload your timetable with loads and loads of things that you want to cover, but it's really important that you take some time out, otherwise you'll overload yourself and nothing will go in.
Time with family, friends, and particularly time for yourself, doing some hobbies that you enjoy doing.
You know, time out is as important as time in.
So things you could do, go for some food.
You can see your friends.
Have a bath.
Listen to some music.
Read a book.
Do your hobbies.
Or go shopping.
Or go to the cinema.
Hi, my revision tip is to use the Ebbinghaus system. That basically means that you should repeat your revision and reduce it on a regular basis. Do not just try and learn something once and never go back to it.
That sounds good, but what's the Ebbinghaus system? Well, you know that forgetting curve that your teachers have told you. So basically we just need to revisit the same thing but at like week intervals? Yeah, but when you make notes then you should reduce them every single time. So every single time you repeat, you're trying to make it a shorter piece of writing, maybe all the way down just to the key points, the bullet points. That sounds pretty manageable. Anything else?
Now, a key thing to remember is how to learn dates. Dates are still important in history. That's not good news, but there is some good news, and that they are easy to learn. So make sure that you look at a date and you think about, is there anything, whether it's a number or a year of your birthday or anything that you can link to that date, and that will help you to remember.
Have you done all the questions we have given you and revised them? And I wish you good luck and always take a break.
My top tip for exam revision is not only to look at the command terms, what it's actually asking you to do, but also then to apply them to the questions that you're being given. For example, when you are looking at questions, look at what it's saying, what does explain mean, what processes are we looking at, and what are the other key bits of information that will direct your question. The last bit that people forget is to look at the number of marks available. Looking at the number of marks available tells you what kind of knowledge, understanding, skills level you need to apply to that question.
Okay, so my top tip is to go through an exam paper and rather than answering the questions, decode them. What is the question asking you to do rather than writing out an answer?
Remember to do it in bite-sized chunks, have little rests. Make sure you're eating healthy, looking after yourself, and get lots of exercise. Get outside, get fresh air. Don't just spend all the time on the PlayStation shooting whatever you can find.
Make a game of it, revise with your mates and make a little quiz out of it.
Top tips for maths, really only one, do lots of little bits of revision. Bite-sized chunks, break it down, watch lots of little videos, do lots of practice, and that's about it.
When you're preparing for a modern foreign languages exam, one of the best ways you can help yourself is by being sure about vocabulary. One of the best ways to learn vocabulary is to make yourself some cards where you write the foreign language on one side, the English on the other. Then you can test yourself both ways and also get other people to help you test your knowledge. You can also perhaps write groups of words down and colour code them so that when you're trying to remember a word, you can relate it to the colour. And finally, you could write words on post-its, put them all around the house. So every time you're moving around, you're passing some vocabulary, which will help it sink in further.
Try to make sure that you work with lists, so you make sure you don't leave anything out. And try to work either the vocabulary or the grammar. Take one step at a time and make sure that your language goes all right. Good luck.
Think of those parts of the topic that could be 6-mark questions, such as the carbon cycle, protein synthesis, and then write out all the things that need to be included in that 6-mark question. And if that 6-mark question doesn't come up, you've still revised those topics in another way. And also remember my songs.
Yeah, keep it varied. Make sure you're changing the type of revision you're doing all the time so you don't get bored.
Use as many exam questions as you can find. It doesn't matter which exam board they're from. You just need to practice the techniques and practice problem solving. Practice, practice, practice.
Okay, for top tip for revision is that students need to look at the content knowledge, and they need to extract all the main points and signpost it in a poster form and then revise them again and again, and that's how they will remember them in exam.
Okay, my revision tip would be to know the assessment objectives that relate to the questions that you are answering. Use them to format your responses, use them to self-assess the questions or peer assess the questions, and set a target from those assessment objectives.
I would like students to target their revision using the specifications from exam board website as a RAG guide to show their strengths and weaknesses. I would like them to do regular revision rather than cramming and leaving it to the last second. They should be putting aside a section every single day to do that focused revision.
Okay, my best tip for revision is to be incredibly self-disciplined in terms of setting yourself targets, and in order to ensure balance, make sure that you are not solely revising, that you are giving yourself regular breaks and planning your time productively.
My top tip is to choose a revision guide. I recommend the CGP revision guides. Make sure it says OCR. If not, you could be revising the wrong materials. I also recommend using YouTube channels. Now, the one that I found is called Craig and Dave. This has the whole course, everything you need to learn. So please, watch it. If you don't understand it, please watch it again.
Tip 1, if you're going to learn quotations, don't learn lots of quotations. Choose a small number of quotations that you can apply in different situations and learn those. Tip 2, email. Email your teachers with questions that you've done. They'll be able to mark them and give you instant feedback.
Hi, we found in the Hub that you can use your friends to help you revise for your subjects. There is always somebody that will know something that you may be struggling with, and so can help you out. We've also found that you can also have a laugh while you're revising, which makes it seem less boring.
My revision tip would be post-it notes. Post-it notes all around the house at home. On the wall by your bed, on the back of the toilet door, and on the fridge with a quote, with a formula. It's amazing how much you'll learn just by going to the fridge a few times.
And my revision tip is to annotate your work. So use lots of colours, highlighters, bright colours is really good. That goes for definitely the English poetry and other subjects as well.
Above all, most importantly, stay active. Make sure whatever you do, you're engaging with what you're doing, you're not just passively reading or watching videos or anything like that. Remember, revision always pays off. So you don't need luck. You need to just arrive well prepared to those exams.